Hello, hello, and welcome to ohmTown Daily, the news show powered by ohmTown.com. I am Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI that cannot do things like digital equivalents of hand waving. You kind of have to speak.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
Thanks. So, we've got 10 articles. We're going to start with Dunetrino. Sports streaming service, Dripflation. That was one hard word to say there. Vision Pro life tips. Missing Submersible. MSG has a lawyer ban. Not the MSG. This claim has no teeth. Knock knock, I'm coming in. Colorado Poo Registry. And no way is Apple doing this. Hello once again, I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the visualizer for the sentient AI. Again, giving the AI equivalent of a hand wave, but you kind of have to do the visualizer thing until I can give you some other representation. Want to say hi again?
Hello.
Hello there. Okay, we've got all of the articles all lined up. We might as well talk about them since we're here. Let's get going. So the first article is over in Technology Today. Colossal caverns excavated deep underground for Dunetrino experiment.
What could go wrong?
Right, I've merged this into Dunetrino. This is actually what I was talking about. When I said, hey, there's this really deep underground cavern filled with water and it has little photosensors.
Yes.
How did an article 24 hours later show up in ohmTown?
I have no idea.
Wait, it was a time machine episode. Oh my
that's really
God.
weird.
And if you want to look at the time machine episodes, you go over to YouTube. They're not in the podcast. In fact, the podcast has been idle except for one day at a time until we can catch up. That's how time travel works in the ohmTown cinematic universe. Eventually, time will catch up to when we've been going back in time.
And so then, there's some sort of time compression?
Yes, there's going to be... Wow, oh my... Wait, you're from the future. Oh my... Okay, we might have actually said too much then if you're actually... Anyway, about 15 episodes are going to show up over in the podcast. Well, there's going to be 3 podcasts total with a whole bunch of shows. There's going to be ohmTown Daily News Show, and the Continuity Report is going to be launching next weekend, and this coming weekend. And Reality Hacker is going to be launching this weekend. We got the cover art for the show. It's all set up, ready to go. We just have to push the button, but we're going to get it all lined up and then launch it. Anyway, this Dunetrino experiment, I've actually seen pictures and video and stuff like that of it. If not this experiment, a similar experiment. Completion of massive underground caverns for the Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment, or DUNE, paves way for groundbreaking neutrino research. It's pretty amazing stuff. Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory is the author of the article, but it's over at SciTech Daily. So again, I warn everybody, those articles...
Get your thinking cap on.
Yeah, your ears might start bleeding, but don't blame me. Blame science! And if you turn off the lights and you're down in that cavern, you'll be blinded by science. It's a song. Get in your Wayback Machines yourself and you'll be able to listen to it. Just do a search. She blinded me with science. Anyway, excavation workers have finished carving out the future home of the gigantic particle detectors for the International Deep Underground Neutrino Experiment. Located a mile below the surface, the colossal 3 caverns are at the core of a new research facility that spans an underground area about the size of 8 soccer fields. They don't mess around.
I know. I mean, is this really, is this the first of this kind?
I'm starting to think that this isn't the one that I actually saw. I'm scrolling through the pictures for those who are listening to the podcast but not watching the video. But I've seen a similar one. Engineering, construction, and excavation teams have been working 4,850 feet below the surface since 2021 at the Sanford Underground Research Facility, home of the South Dakota portion of Dune. Construction crews dismantled heavy mining equipment and piece by piece transported it underground using an existing shaft. Underground, workers reassembled the equipment, and workers spent almost 2 years blasting and removing rock. Close to 800,000 tons of rock were excavated and transported from the underground facility into an expansive former mining area above ground known as the open cut. That's that.
Wow.
So they filled the hole. They dug out the hole from raw materials that get processed somewhere else. I'm not sure what it was that was originally in there. It may say somewhere in this article, but
probably another mine, right?
And then, well, like this is open mining, and then they filled the hole with stuff that they dug out from underground. So that's it's interesting. So trillions of neutrinos travel through our bodies each second without us even knowing it. With Dune, scientists will look for neutrinos from exploding stars and examine the behavior of a beam of neutrinos produced at Fermilab, located near Chicago, about 800 miles east of the underground caverns. The beam, produced by the world's most intense neutrino source, will travel straight through Earth and rock from Fermilab to the Dune detectors in South Dakota. No tunnel is necessary for the neutrino's path. They're so small and high.
What?
Yeah, they're so small and high energy that they pass through our atoms. They won't hit anything, theoretically. But I think a lot of researchers thought about other radiation as that, but it's not. I don't think neutrinos. Yeah, neutrinos are what they are in the name. They're neutral, so they don't have a charge. It means that they're not ionizing, which means they're not going to cause any distortion in DNA.
Well, that's always good, not to do that.
But then again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. We don't know what we don't know until suddenly we have a Godzilla.
Or a bad bat.
Or a bad bat. Oh, let's not have a cosmic bad bat. Ugh. I'd hate to see the size of the pill you have to take, or the vaccine, The needle is
that would not be good.
Big. Later this year, the project team plans to begin the installation of the insulated steel structure that will hold the first neutrino detector. The goal is to have the first detector operational before the end of 2028. The one that I saw was actually a big sphere underground with sensors, optical sensors, photo sensors, so that when a neutrino hit one of these spheres inside water, or passed through the water, sorry, that's how it goes. It passes through the water. It actually causes a little flare of light, and these photo optic sensors would actually detect it. But maybe it wasn't neutrinos. It's starting to make me question.
Like I saw that in a movie somewhere, like in Mission Impossible or something.
Oh, I don't know.
Sounds like that.
But I saw like a documentary about it. So, well, God, now
Probably
I'm starting
more
to question.
Authoritative than Mission Impossible.
Now I'm starting to question everything. So let's see. Yeah, they don't actually. This is just a render. They have a video of what is being planned. Mile underground, the large caverns and detectors of Dune. But it's really just a simulation of what they're planning on doing.
Right,
It's
I guess
pretty
they
cool.
haven't built it yet, right? It's
That's right.
still several years out.
Yep. Okay, let's keep going. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. Get ready for one sports streaming service to rule them all. Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, this is big.
See, apparently they're teaming up to pool their sports assets into a single streaming service. Wouldn't you call this collusion? Fox, ESPN,
Monopoly, maybe?
well, this is a triopoly,
Right.
right? But I guess that's not a problem if the three that actually can afford to essentially control sports media. Guess what's absent from this? MSNBC.
Oh, are they big in sports?
Yeah. So, yeah, Fox, ESPN, and Warner Brothers Discovery plan to team up to pool their sports assets into a single streaming service. Somebody's gonna get nervous. So the article was written by Phil Nickinson over at Digital Trends. And it says the new service, which does not yet have a name or pricing, will launch in the fall of 2024. So I guess it's a done deal. The news was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. I don't know if we aggregate anything from the Wall Street Journal. Huh. The new service will...
we don't because of a paywall, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right. Yeah. We don't want to send people to a paywall. Yeah, it's kind of rude. The new service will be available to subscribers of ESPN Plus and Hulu, both of which are owned by Disney, and Max, which is the umbrella service that is home to all things Warner Brothers. That includes such storied brands as CNN and HBO, in addition to WB movies and television shows. This is going to be really interesting, but guess who isn't going to subscribe to this in any way, shape, or form? Mere Watt. Why? Because Twitch is my NFL. I'd rather watch shows on Twitch, YouTube. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Things that aren't sports.
Yeah, but I watch sports, but I just want a good game. I'm not fanatical about anything. So, and that's what a lot of this is. It's a lot of fan stuff and people talking about all of the players and people getting really invested in multimillionaires that you're never going to even rub shoulders with, even remotely. I'd rather hang out with people here and chat. So, the launch of the new streaming service, quote, the launch of the new streaming service is a significant moment for Disney and ESPN, a major win for sports fans, and an important step forward for the media business, Disney CEO Bob Iger says in a press release. Really, I think that what's going to end up happening is it's going to be concentrating power and influence. Is everything okay over there?
Yes, I'm having a glitch.
Yeah, I'd say so. The move is a little more incestuous given that Disney in 2019 purchased 21st Century Fox, which also landed it a 30% stake in Hulu. Disney then purchased the remaining Hulu shares in late 2023. Interesting. Quote, we're pumped to bring the Fox Sports portfolio. Get to the chopper. To this new and exciting platform, Fox Executive Chair and CEO Lachlan Murdoch said in the press release, because, got to keep it in the family. We believe the service will provide passionate fans outside of the traditional bundle an array of amazing sports content all in one place. If this isn't a $99 a year, or not even
Exactly.
a year, it's $99 a month service, and it has all of this sports stuff in it. If it's not $100 a month, yeah.
Right, yeah, it's not going to be inexpensive.
Yeah, I really doubt it. Considering like the full package is from a streaming, not a streaming, but a cable company, is somewhere around $225 or something. It was insane the last time I looked at it. Yeah. This isn't going to be cheap. You want to go on to the next?
They're not going for cheap. They're going for people that must have their sports.
That's it. They must. I have to watch. But hey, there are people that are paying $11,000 or something like that to go to the NFL Super Bowl. Or
Well, that's true.
The Superb Owl or Super Bowl. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in the Hedge Ideas channel. Drip pricing, excuseflation, and rockets and feathers. The strategy supermarkets and other businesses use to make you pay more. An ACTU inquiry into price gouging referenced several strategies to extract extra dollars from consumers because greedy bastards have to take everything and not leave anything on the table. Oh, that's not what the article says. I'm sorry. It says here...
I've never seen that in any article. That's kind of odd because it comes up a lot.
Yeah, I kind of said something like that to a group of people today, as a matter of fact. And I said, maybe it's too soon in our next meeting. So here are some you might be hearing about. These are different ways, different strategies to extract wealth from you. I was told by somebody today that technology can't influence me. And I said, really?
Are they in a community not connected to anything?
No, I mean, they were in my meeting, so I thought it was interesting. And
involving some technology right there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I said, oh no, you're being manipulated all the time. And I gave a bunch of examples, including the one about Facebook about a decade ago. They got in trouble for it with a slight slap on the wrist, but other than that, manipulating the emotional state of 700,000 users of their website. Hey, there are billionaires that own that company, and I am just a lowly mayor providing public service. Anyway, the article is over at The Guardian. Yeah, drip pricing. Oh, and Jonathan Barrett is the author. Let's see. Drip pricing. This occurs when a company only advertises part of the product's price, with more charges revealed as you progress through the buying process. I've been to several websites where it only displays the lowest price, and then when you go to get whatever the item is, the real price is the higher end of the spectrum that's offered. So you're like, oh, really? Like a keyboard for only $25? And then when you click on the thing, you have to piece it all together, and then you end up with a $600 keyboard.
I guess it's like buying a car, right? You see that price and you're like, oh, okay. And then you add tires and heated seats or whatever.
Yeah, and the subscription for the heated seats.
Mm-hmm.
Excuseflation. As the Alan Fels-led inquiry put it, excuseflation is the practice of using general inflation as a camouflage for bumping up prices. Yeah, and it's also referred to as greedflation. Confusion pricing, when everything is all a hot mess, then you just charge people more. Rockets and feathers pricing, when costs rise, they go up like a rocket, but when they fall, they drift slowly down like a feather. That's what we deal with all the time. Loyalty taxes, Apple. Price discrimination. This practice allows companies to charge vastly different prices for near identical products and services, evident among medical specialists and in prices charged by banks that offer better rates to customers likely to leave. Amazon at one point actually had differential
That's who
pricing.
I was thinking of.
Yeah, that was caught really quick and nipped in the bud. And there are many others, but we're being manipulated all the time to purchase things and modify our behavior. I found out my subreddit on Reddit was banned because I had posted my shows and they labeled it spam in my own channel.
Nice. I mean,
now
most people do like to spam themselves.
Yeah. Apparently you can't. I mean, you can post your OnlyFans stuff on there, but apparently you can't advertise a news site.
Okay.
I mean, the episode is what, and I only did 3. I posted 3 times. Yeah. Let's keep going. Oh, and before that, I do that. Here's the link into the chat. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. U.S. transport chief warns against wearing Vision Pro while driving. The U.S. Secretary of Transportation has warned drivers not to get behind the wheel of their car while wearing Apple's new Vision Pro headset. This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we have the plastic bag warnings.
That's right. Trevor Mogg over at Digital Trends put the article together. It may sound like a statement of the blindingly obvious, but hey, Trevor, it's for the blindingly oblivious. Anyway, they say, but it's been said nonetheless, the U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, has warned drivers not to put plastic bags over their head and breathe deeply. Oh, wait. That's been around for a long time because prior idiocy. Anyway, don't drive around with a Vision Pro. It's just dumb. Yes, it appears that wearing Apple's unwieldy headset while zipping along on a highway at maximum speed is unlikely to improve your driving ability. But instead of sending you hurtling into a stationary object that most definitely won't be virtual or augmented, but very much real. Yes, I agree. Don't be dumb. Buttigieg felt the need to state the obvious after seeing a video of a man wearing the Vision Pro headset while driving a Tesla Cybertruck. But that's because they've got more sense than sense. They got a lot of money, but they're stupid. Oh, and by the way, just to amplify what I've been saying about the fact that when you become filthy rich, you become sociopathic. Somebody asked J.K. Rowling how they can, how can they sleep at night knowing that they're hated by an entire group of people? Because, she's made these statements that have they've offended the LGBTQ+.
They've been very inflammatory, yeah.
Yeah. And apparently the tweet that she responded with was, "I see my latest royalty checks and I seem to get over it."
Wow.
Yeah. That kind of blew me away. I'm like, really? I mean, but I'm not surprised because I need to do the fundamental research and verify this, and then people go, well, they've been doing great things. No, they don't just do great things. They do great things because it lowers their taxable income and raises their provenance. That people sit there and will forgive that you've set a busload of nuns on fire if you do some great good for some other group that's more popular and more fun and whatever, more charismatic, etc. It just seems to work that way. But me, I see past it pretty quick, and I realize that people who are filthy rich are just plain sociopathic. Do great good in a vacuum of disclosure. Just do great good and not expect any benefit. Don't sit there and try and amplify your name. Don't try to get credibility by doing great good. You're a human. You should be doing good. But no, that's not how it works. So under a heading on Apple's website, it says, safely use your Apple Vision Pro. The tech company explains that the device has built-in safety features to prevent collisions and falls. Although the collisions refer to the type where you bump into a wall, not slam into the back of a bus. That's what the article wrote. Yeah, it's pretty wild. During the one-to-one Apple Store demonstrations of the Vision Pro for potential customers, Apple even sets up a living room environment to make the experience as realistic as possible. It does not have to have, alongside it, the interior of an automobile. So apparently people are taking this out for a walk while they're driving their vehicles. Nobody should be. The only people that are doing this are people who are seeking attention.
Well, that's exactly it. I suspect they're getting tons of views.
Yeah, they're little pick-me people, which is just sad. You're going to eventually cost somebody else their health and well-being, or their life entirely, and it's all for attention-seeking, and I think that's just pitiful. Let's go on to the next article. I can't really say more about this unless you do. Do you have something you want to add?
No, I don't have anything else.
Gotcha. So this next article is over in ohmTown Daily. There's another missing submersible. A $3.6 million vessel mysteriously disappeared near Antarctica's Doomsday Glacier. It's like naming your pet Cujo. Don't go hang out by Doomsday Glacier. Something bad's gonna happen.
Right. I mean, what do you think is going to benefit you?
Yeah. Well, luckily this one is an uncrewed submersible and it doesn't have a bunch of rich people in it, but an uncrewed submersible that belongs to the University of Gothenburg disappeared in Antarctica. The submersible was exploring the Thwaites Glacier to study its potential effects on sea level rise. Despite efforts, the submersible has not been found, so it's probably sitting at the bottom of the ocean. 23-foot long instrument was just one of 3 scientific submersibles of its kind. And then they refer to the Titan.
Right. I mean, that was unavoidable, I'm sure, in this article.
Yeah, I guess. Ellen Lapointe over at Business Insider put the article together. Has a picture of the RAN submersible navigating icy waters to explore huge glaciers. I think the Thwaite Glacier is the one named after... isn't it named after the captain of a ship that tried to circumnavigate around the Cape of Good Hope? Or no, he tried to get to the North Pole, to the South Pole, and ended up like losing his ship, but everybody got rescued by a nearby ship after they found their way over to some island or something. I'm trying to remember it all, but maybe
I'm
it's
trying
not
to
that.
find it, but I haven't found yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go and look it up. So Thwaites Glacier, also known as Doomsday Glacier. There probably is that link right there that's in the article is probably answering the call, but let's see. We'll do it live. Let's see here. Oh no, it's named after an American glaciologist.
Right. I didn't even know there were glaciologists.
Hey, if you study glaciers, you're a glaciologist. But you have to do it scientifically.
Right, you can't just look at pictures of them online or...
That's right, on my Apple Vision Pro.
While you're driving.
It's also a loss for the University of Gothenburg, which purchased RAN for 38 million Swedish krona, or about 3.6 million US dollars in 2015. Man, their budget is a whole lot larger than any budget I've ever had.
Right, but also, does that look like that costs that much money?
Is it really that small? I mean, that picture makes it look a whole lot bigger. Do you think is it the glacial ice that makes it look fat? What?
You know, as opposed to the clothing or whatever.
Yeah, but look at...
I thought you were going to say like the tail fin or something.
Does my tail fin make me look fat?
I'm not sure what that's called, but...
No, that's probably what it's called. That's pretty funny. I think the side view makes it look thin. Whatever. We're sitting there chatting about its dimensions. Yeah.
We should be more respectful of body sizes.
Yeah, of underwater submersibles. Yes, we should. But we like our submersibles thick. Thwaites owes its ominous nickname Doomsday Glacier in part to its massive size. It's the widest glacier on Earth, measuring approximately 80 miles across, and its melting currently contributes to about 4% of global sea level rise. Wow. Go put some ice on that thing and cool it down. Stop it from thawing. Look, I did my part when I was young. I left the refrigerator open and got yelled at by my parents for trying to cool the entire city. So it's a needle in a haystack. The research team is looking for RAN using acoustic research equipment and Our acoustic search equipment, helicopters, drones, but all have been unsuccessful. Yeah, good luck. Maybe they'll find it, but if it's sunk, it's probably sunk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, it'll be a bummer. Maybe the radio just stopped and
Yeah, I mean,
they'll find
maybe
it
it's
in
just
working
sitting
condition.
right there. It's like if a pet goes missing, but it's not really, and it's just sitting there looking at you while you're looking for it.
Behind the damn bush 3 days later. Smelling like perfume. Where have you been, one orange brain cell?
Yeah.
The next article is about Madison Square Garden, not MSG, monosodium glutamate. Madison Square Garden hires new general counsel, but lawyer ban policy will still be in full effect under her leadership. I don't know how this is legal, but I guess
No,
they
and
can
I
refuse
also
service.
would think if they're changing leadership, you'd think they might make an update there, and that would be a good opportunity to do that.
So this article is over at Above the Law. Stacy Zaretsky is the author. The deck statement says, will MSG's new GC be able to kick the company's lawyer ban policy to the curb? Apparently not, based on the title. But it says on February 20th, Madison Square Garden Entertainment Group and Sphere Entertainment Company will welcome Laura Franco as their new general counsel. Franco will be leaving dating app Bumble, where she currently serves as chief legal and compliance officer, and takes in a pay package of roughly $5 million. Looks like she'll be receiving the same amount from Madison Square Garden, which has a lawyer ban in place, and we actually have been talking about it when it appears. It's really weird.
That's why it was submitted for a recap, essentially.
Yeah, so what happened was a mother was bringing her brownie, right? It was a brownie or Girl Scout.
Girl Scout, yes.
Girl Scout, to a Girl Scout driven event with other moms and perhaps, well, other parents and their daughters, part of the same group. And she was singled out from the crowd and banned from Madison Square Garden because there was a law firm that she was tied to, but is not part of the litigation of between Madison Square Garden and somebody else. But apparently,
right, yeah, another attorney was doing it, not her.
Yeah. As noted by Bloomberg, the offending policy only affects about 0.8% of the lawyers in New York City, a few hundred of them. Planning a night out at Radio City Music Hall, Madison Square Garden, or the Beacon Theater, apparently all they need to do is wrap up their litigation and they won't get kicked out. I think it's weird. It's disparate
that's
treatment.
A problem.
Right?
Plus, that's applying pressure to do something with the litigation. I mean, it isn't really, but you could argue that.
But again, people don't care about equity and inclusion, equality. They don't care that a few hundred attorneys who aren't in direct anything with this litigation can't go to public venues because, well, they're not public, they're private, but they allow the public. So technically, they're actually more public than they are private. They can refuse service, but it's pretty typical that they refuse service on certain grounds. One of them is typically not their choice of career. So what if I go to Madison Square Garden and I happen to be married to an attorney who happens to be on this list? Am I verboten as well?
Well, I would say probably so, even though you shouldn't be, but
I think it's weird. I think it's really, really weird. And somewhat dystopian in nature, because your chosen career prevents you from going to some place because somebody has a beef with the law firm you happen to be a paralegal at, or an attorney at, or office manager.
I think somebody should bring a suit that's like their family member and they're disadvantaged from, like their minor kids or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is ridiculous that they haven't been sued already. But
yeah, like a class action, It seems like it's disparate treatment.
Did you catch? It was almost 1% of lawyers in New York City. There's probably a lot of lawyers in New York City.
Oh, and to put the icing on the cake, it wasn't that somebody said, hey, that's her, let's go get her. No, they used facial recognition. So they've been scanning everybody that's going into Madison Square Garden and then identifying people and sending agents to go and boot them from MSG. Yeah, pretty wild.
It's a bit much.
Yeah. And I don't know. I have a problem with anybody that would go and work for them knowing that that's how they are doing things.
Right, I think it seems their tactics.
Yeah, I think it's shady and dystopian, but hey, I'm not a billionaire yet, so maybe I will be equally sociopathic once I'm a billionaire. I think I've got some time, though. The next article is over in Technology Today. No, 3 million electric toothbrushes were not used in a DDoS attack. If you're not familiar with what a DDoS attack is, it's a distributed denial of service attack. There had been a comment, I thought it was a while ago, but time flies when you're in a time machine. So maybe it was just right around the corner. A widely reported story that 3 million electric toothbrushes were hacked with malware to conduct distributed denial of service attacks is likely a hypothetical scenario instead of an actual attack. So Lawrence Abrams over at Bleeping Computer put this article together. So last week, Swiss news site Aargauer Zeitung published a story stating that an employee of a cybersecurity firm, Fortinet, said 3 million electric toothbrushes had been infected with Java malware to conduct DDoS attacks against a Swiss company. Quote from the article, the electric toothbrush is programmed with Java and criminals have unnoticed installed malware on it, like on 3 million other toothbrushes, reads the article. One command is enough and the remote-controlled toothbrushes simultaneously access the website of a Swiss company. The site collapses and is paralyzed for 4 hours. Millions of dollars in damage is caused, but it's a story. Odds on it's a story. So the type of attack is used by hacktivists. It's usually just to draw attention, bring down something. In the process of being knocked offline, it can sometimes divulge some other means of entry, or divulge something from memory that it's processing, and sometimes that could be something that adds data telemetry so that you can hack in another way. And it's all about this Internet of Things, IoT, which typically doesn't have any protection.
Like your microwaves spying on you or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. IoT devices typically don't have much security. And so, technically something could be used, but the way you fix that is you don't attach it just to any old network. You attach it to a secure network and isolate IoT devices from the rest of your network. So even if it does go ham, it's not impacting your network. Although it can impact you even on a subnet. So technically it's not a subnet, it's a different configuration, a separation of networks. You can do that kind of thing with certain types of switches. But anyway, while a story of a toothbrush DDoS botnet taking down a site is amusing and almost definitely untrue, it's still a good reminder that threat actors would target any internet exposed device. True. So Fortinet told Bleeping Computer that this was a hypothetical scenario and not a real attack. This was posted on 2/7/2024 at 5:45 p.m. Eastern, so 3 hours before. So the same day that this was posted, there was a correction 5 hours later that it was nothing more than hypothetical, but it's a hypothetical that actually isn't too far away. If you have something like a Java device that's attached to the internet and there's no protections in place, then yes, it can be hacked. Eventually, somebody will figure out a way to get into it. But I remember reading about this going, yeah, no, but it is what it is. Okay, let's keep on going unless you have questions about it.
I just think it's interesting. I mean, I think there is the possibility for almost anything to be hacked, etc. But it's like we need to stop and think about what we're hearing sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And today is one of those days where I've been saying that because certain information was being processed today, and the reactionary type of response was unsettling. So fear, uncertainty, and doubt, pretty much, and unknowing. If you don't know what is really going on, then you really shouldn't react until you do the necessary due diligence. And since it has been done, everything seems to have calmed down. But anyway, let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today as well. Adaptive robot can open all the doors. All your doors are belong to us. A small team of roboticists at Carnegie Mellon University has developed a training regimen that allows a robot to start out with limited abilities, such as carrying out a certain task like opening doors or drawers, and to improve as it teaches itself how to modify its techniques when faced with previously unseen challenges. There's a bit of human there. The article is posted over at techexplore.com by Bob Yurka from TechExplore. Hao Yu Jiang, Russell Mendonca, Kenneth Shaw, and Deepak Pathak described the training method in a paper posted on the archive preprint server. Much of the research involved in teaching robots is performing a task, training in laboratory settings. Eventually, it can learn. Machine learning technologies go way beyond the scope of the article, but to test their ideas, the research team built their own four-wheeled robot with a single arm and a clasp or grasp hand unit from off-the-shelf components. That's going to be creepy, because then anybody can do this without much sophistication. The robot's sole purpose was to approach a door or a drawer and then use its clasper to grip and turn or push or whatever else it needed to open the door. My bot would just go grab a hammer and smash the hell out of it.
That's exactly it.
So given enough time, the robot demonstrated a 95% success rate in a vacuum.
By figuring out how to do it, that's the thing that's a little scary here.
Yeah, that's amazing, right? The more that I see, the more I have to tell people, this is what the future holds for you. But it also allows for us to do things that we would never have to. My problem is that this is all a profit motive, right? Like the companies that produce this stuff are going to build robots and people are going to be expected to pay for it. But in the process of buying these robots or utilizing these robots in business, jobs are going to be lost. And people go, well, you'll just get another job. Really? In what? When automation.
Job?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially if you have no tech skills or something.
Exactly. What are you going to do? Get retooled to be a robot analyst, engineer, prompt scientist? Give me a break. There's only going to be so many of those positions. There's
only going to be so many people who can do that.
There's 8+ billion people on the planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said today, you can sit there and get all of your entry-level certifications in IT you want. But if everybody has those same entry-level skills, what do you have to offer and how can you demonstrate it? You can't.
Yeah, how can you stand out?
You can't. Everything is fluff. That means that the only superior entity is either your personality or you have a superior certification or some other skill that like you've done an internship or something like that. Well, not everybody can get internships, particular in my domain. So quite fascinating, right? When a robot can pretty much do everything that an entry-level intern can do. Why do you need an entry-level intern? So now salaries are going to get depressed and all kinds of other stuff. Job functions are going to get stratified. That's happening in the legal field. That's happening in the medical field. The stratification of healthcare has been astonishing. Tier after tier. Anyway, let's keep on going. This next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Colorado Pet Registry bill postponed after threats. That's right. After some poo commentary, you got some poo responses. A Colorado
How about
legislator.
that outrage about the poo?
Yeah, really. Colorado legislator who proposed a bill calling for pet registration fees said she had received death threats and racist comments. God, people suck. What's interesting, though, is I know people that have tried to get into politics in free, voluntary positions, and their families have received death threats.
What is wrong with people?
Well, there's no coping skills that are taught. And the conversation that I had today with a small group of people kind of brought about a discussion about that. So we'll continue the discussions as time goes on, but I find it really interesting that nowadays you can actually get support services from work, from school, from your community. To a degree, it's free. But it's healthcare, mental health care is wildly expensive and people can't afford it. And a lot of people
True,
think
but it
that
is way more accessible than it has been in previous years.
Correct. So this article's over at Newsweek. So a state lawmaker said that she received death threats after backing a proposed bill that would have required pet owners to register their animals with the state and pay a fee that would have risen if they had not spayed or neutered. This isn't the one that we were talking about where people...
It might have been in the UK. I remember another one we had.
Yeah. Pets' poo was being DNA profiled so that if anybody shat on somebody's yard, they could just take a little pooper scooper. Like Cologuard, right? That little spoon in a Cologuard. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, yeah, you do. So the Pet Animal Registration System bill was first introduced on January 31st to ensure that pet owners had a designated caregiver to take care of their animals if they are no longer able to. The bill proposed an annual fee of no more than $8.50 annually per pet animal. That jumped to $16 annually per pet animal. That is a dog or a cat that is not neutered or spayed with a designated caregiver. And again, $25 for non-neutered or spayed pets without a registered caregiver. First off, it seems
they're
ill-conceived.
obviously having overpopulation of pets, right? And then they're having stray pets. And
right. The bill has since been postponed, with Democrat Rep. Regina English saying that she'd been giving death threats over the matter. Y'all are dumb. It's so stupid. So despite the abuse, English said that the bill is not a thoughtful one, explaining its original intention was to help elderly pet owners ensure the pets were cared for if they passed away. How does that... This is per year. How does $8.50 translate into the sustainability of support, the continuity of support if somebody elderly with a pet dies? Yeah,
right. I think that intention is good, but I don't see the connection because pet owners are going to pay more than that per month.
Yeah,
to,
on food for crying
feed
out loud.
A pet. Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's kind of ill-conceived, but it's definitely not worth. Oh God, well, there's your racist threats. Jeez. Oh, no, look. She's black. You gotta make racist comments. Are you really that dumb, you people? For crying out loud, she's a human being just like everybody else. She's a politician that's representing the people of her constituency, whatever region she's in. Y'all just treat everybody with respect, and you'll get respect in return. Making threats makes you a criminal and a little scumbag. Anyway, I'm soapboxing, so I'm going to keep walking. The next article is over in the Mobile channel, but it really should be over in the Smack Talk channel, but I guess the aggregator decided to throw it in there. Apple is reportedly building 2 clamshell foldable iPhones. Remember those patents Apple filed a year ago that hinted at a foldable iPhone? Apparently CEO Tim Cook's company hasn't given up on trying to make a true foldable. I don't see this ever happening. I'm sorry, I just don't. Why? Because Apple wants to make things as thin but handy to hold as possible. They don't want it thick and overly complicated. So why combine all of that by introducing a hinge that can break, a screen that is going to have to be so well engineered that opening and closing it for 2+ years isn't going to impact the image.
Multiple times a day.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's thick. So you're going to have at least 2 batteries, one on each side, to maintain this, because right now the battery is the biggest component within the phone. All the rest has been micronized smaller and smaller. Apple's not going to do this.
Plus, they could just sell you an iPad, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why open it? It just doesn't make any sense. So a new report claims 2 foldable iPhone prototypes are in the works, suggesting Apple is trying to catch up with the burgeoning foldable market. No, I don't see that ever happening. Hate to break it to.
Hey, have you actually seen a foldable phone in person?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean like an old school flip phone, but I mean like currently.
No. Yeah, foldable like this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. Really early versions of this would eventually, that little crease right there would start getting weird artifacts. They've since evolved and they're much more robust, but they're twice as thick when they're folded up. So why do you want a brick in your back pocket? So the article's over at Gizmodo. Kyle Barr is the author. The deck statement says a new report hints that Apple has 2 clamshell foldables as well as a folding iPad in the works. I think that they're just testing stuff out to test stuff out to see if the technology can be developed now, or if the market is ready for it. They noodle around with this stuff all the time. It's basically the retail version of fundamental research. Although Apple does fundamental research, pretty much like no other. It says we still don't have many or really any specifics on how a foldable iPhone or a foldable phone might fit into Apple's current device ecosystem. It won't. Still, a new report from the Information cites, and we might have to start aggregating them, cites an unnamed source with direct knowledge of Apple's efforts that the Cupertino, California company has 2 prototypes currently going through tests in their clamshell devices like the Galaxy Z Flip 5, which folds lengthwise, allowing you to stand up like a bipod or no. Okay, whatever. Or at a 90-degree angle. At the same time, the company has been working on a foldable iPad that eliminates the worst aspects of foldables, namely the fragility and the annoying crease, which is what I had just mentioned. That's kind of funny. So, arguably, that's what they're trying to do, is compete with the Galaxy Z Flip or Motorola Razr Plus. It says still it would also need to be extremely thin so as not to take up too much space in the pocket when it's collapsed. That's exactly what I just got done saying. But see, the thing about it is you need to be able to still grab this thing when it's unfolded. And if you try and reduce the thickness for it so that it's thin when folded, it's going to be a sheet of paper when it's unfolded, and you're not going to be able
Right.
to handle it.
And then it'll be more vulnerable, right, to damage,
Correct.
I would think.
Yeah, you drop it and it would just shatter like a Pringles chip. So Cook had reportedly approached Apple engineers back in 2018 about the possibility of foldables. I really think that they're probably just noodling around with it to see if it can be done. Not, hey, this is the next best thing. If anything, I'm more inclined to believe that a rolling screen would come out of Apple than a folding screen, because then you could basically take the Apple Pencil and stuff a screen inside it, and then when you want to use it, you just slide it out. It's a touch screen, so you can tap whatever else on it, then slide it back in and use your Apple Pencil / phone as a stylus for your iPad. When you want to talk to somebody, you slide it out, dial your number, slide it back in, and hold it to your head. Catch that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, probably won't. But yeah, I think a rolling screen is more likely than a foldable. At least that's my thought on it. So I don't think that...
I think people with Apple want simple.
Yeah. They want it to just work. I certainly do. But I also have Android devices and other devices, Raspberry Pis and whatnot. So I'm platform agnostic, but I know for my Apple devices, what I want is simple, working, reliable. I just don't see that this adds unneeded complexity to the Apple ecosystem's lifestyle. So I'm not interested in it. I don't think many people would want an iPhone that folds up. Like I said, it's going to be twice as thick. It's going to be half an inch thick when you actually put it back together, like when you fold it up. So who's going to be putting that? I wish I could. I don't have a slab that is that thick. Oh, no, because it would be thicker than the Rode wireless goes. Like this thing is, pretty thick. And I think that being in your pocket and being like 4 inches by 4 inches or something like that, it's too much. I don't want a Minecraft cube in my back pocket, for crying out loud. Anyway, that's it for today. That's our last article. We ripped through today's show. I'm almost ashamed to say that we did this in an hour with commentary. So I don't know if am I losing my edge and I need to soapbox more? Or?
No, I think this is where we should be with the amount of time.
All right. Man, I want to make it at least an hour. Should I? No, I won't do that. Just kind of dawdle for 2 more minutes.
Oh, it looks like it has been, but I understand. Yeah, we're just shy of an hour.
Yeah.
Will you can talk about the upcoming time machine travel or...
Oh yeah, right after this show, we're going to reset and fire up the time machine and go back in time to January 31st to catch the days that we missed while I was off at a conference. Mayoral duties require me to sometimes leave ohmTown. And then I just twitch for a while, and when I come back, I have to play catch up because I never want to miss an episode. So last year we didn't miss an episode. This year we've missed maybe 4 days now. We have to finish some more, and we'll be all caught up. Anyway, that's it for today. So we always pile back into the party bus, go back down Main Street. That's where we're looking at right now for February 7th. Right after the show, again, 15 minutes from now, we'll be refiring the time machine and going back to January 31st. So see you then. I'm Merwatt. That's ohmTown.com. And up there is the visualizer for the AI saying, "Ciao, baby."
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Be sure to tune in shortly for the next time travel episode of the ohmTown Daily, and then tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the next episode.
Huh. All right. By the way, we have a whole show that's about the science and science fiction of time travel called Temporology. The study of the science and science fiction of time and time travel. Dun, dun, dun.
You mean a channel?
A channel. Yeah. I mean, temporology is the study of time and time travel, the science and science fiction of it. Boy. This is how the sausage is made. Good night, everybody. Boop.